The following, called Iwashi Uri Koi no Hikiami, the sardine seller and the net of love, is the most popular kabuki play by the famous novelist and playwright Mishima Yukio. Though first staged in 1954, it is a comedy that pays homage to much older kabuki styles, and in its subject it borrows much from the popular story Sarugenji Soshi, the tale of Genji the monkey, written in 1474. As in the older narrative, our unlikely hero is a humble fishmonger, a seller of sardines, who takes on the guise of a feudal lord in order to gain access to a beautiful, high-ranking courtesan. Through his quick wit and mastery of classical poetry, he is able to transcend his lowly status and win the hand of the one he loves. As the curtain opens, we find ourselves on the open road by the foot of the Gojo Bridge in Kyoto. Offstage Geza musicians play a lively melody on the large drum and three-string shamisen, creating a rustic, somewhat comic atmosphere as a horse trader comes this way and bumps into a palanquin. I say, horse trader, here at the foot of the Gojo Bridge, there's no call for such competition between horse and palanquin. Why, that voice belongs to Ebina Naamida Butsu, father of the well-known sardine seller Sarugenji. And he must be one of his son's friends. Wait just a moment. A fine chestnut horse he has there, a 3-year-old by the looks of it. He may have retired and taken holy orders, but Ebina was himself a sardine seller, and before that, a samurai from the east. It's not surprising he's a connoisseur of horses. This one belonged to a feudal lord, but after injuring its leg, it's come down in the world, and he just can't find a buyer. No wonder it was too proud to make way on the road. Having passed the sardine trade on to his son, Ebina was wondering how business was faring and came to find out. Is Sarugenji doing well? That is difficult to say. Why, see there. Sarugenji is coming this way now. Meanwhile, there is someone he must call on. He'll see Ebina again later. Well, he seemed in a hurry. We hear in the distance, Sarugenji from Akogi Bay in the province of Ise, come buy my sardines. Advertising his produce rather ineffectually, our hero Sarugenji approaches. The actor is Nakamura Kanzaburo. father, is it? What's that feeble voice? Go on like that and his sardines will rot. Does he mean to sell red-eyed fish? The rascal. But Sarugenji begs forgiveness. He's a very good reason for it. He begs his father listen. It happened at the beginning of last autumn. Dusk had already fallen as he came carrying his sardines past Gojo Bridge. Just then, he happened to pass a wicker palanquin, and as a sudden puff of river breeze blew open the reed blind, he spied a beautiful lady inside, and at a single glance, he fell in love. Since then, he can think of nothing else, and so, in spite of himself, his voice has produced the weak calls that he just heard. So it's love sickness, is it? He's ashamed to say that it is. How unlike his father the spiritless boy is. Why, as he taught him before, in matters of the heart, poetry is their guide. It's written that under its influence, even invisible demons are made to feel pity, and the relations between men and women will soften. Old as he is, Ebina will act as go-between and will wholeheartedly assist his son. Then his father will mediate? How grateful he is. What a blessing to have a father. Praise be to Naamida Butsu. Praise be to Amida Buddha. And yet, she beyond the clouds is so far above him, while he is nothing but a wretched sardine seller. His love can never be realized. That's not the case. What is the lady's name? He asked that of someone. She can be found at the Higashi no Toin, and she is called Hotarubi. Why, Hotarubi is a courtesan. When daylight fades, she shines brightly as a firefly. The firefly Hotarubi is a courtesan known throughout the city. Then, she's a prostitute? A prostitute she may be, but one that will only entertain the greatest lords. Now this poses something of a problem. Stop hovering like that, or he'll never think what to do. There must be some way around this. He's a good idea. It's the horse trader from before. It's Rokuro Zayamon. Ebina remembers that the chestnut horse once belonged to a feudal lord. His excellent plan is for his son to impersonate one. Several lords from neighboring provinces such as Hosokawa, Hatakeyama and Akamatsu are well known in Kyoto, and so impersonating them would be difficult. But Lord Utsunomiya no Danjo from the east has never visited. By happy chance, he is due to visit soon, so their timing is just right. Sarugenji can pretend to be Lord Utsunomiya. Then this horse will serve as his steed. Ebina will lead him. Rokuro Zaemon will be his chief retainer. And luckily, his fishmonger colleagues can act as his samurai attendants. Speed is of the essence. Now, son, or rather, Lord Utsunomiya, bring the horse at once. A headless horse? Even sardines have heads. Why, the poem's beginning is stuck on at the end. What an imposing lord he makes. Fast withering are the grasses by Kamo River, when hunting for fireflies is so merry a sport. Now after you, my sardine flower lord. Men, let's be on our way. The next scene is set within the Higashino Toin House of Pleasure. If one had sufficient funds, it is here that the services of a courtesan might be bought, and the most exclusive of them all is the great Hotarubi. But now in her absence, some lower-ranking women are seated in conversation. The courtesans are asking the little girl attendant what splendid thing can be inside that jar of lapis lazuli, a present from Hotarubi, for whom the girl works. The ladies should try and guess. Probably it is something delicious. Perhaps dried persimmons. No, not that. If she keeps saying things she likes to eat, they'll never guess. Then perhaps they'll guess the answer by saying the things they dislike. What this courtesan hates is something they all despise. And what could that be? Do try to guess. They should guess yet again. What she really hates is men. Indeed, that is true for her as well. She hates them so that just the sound of the word men gives her such a headache. Her colleague has it completely right. Why, when she hears the word men, her hatred for them makes her shiver and shake. Then inside the jar is not dried persimmons. As though appearing out of a rubbed oil lamp, it's a hateful, hateful man. No. Then let them open it and see. Why, here are a great number of shells. Hotarubi must be making fun of them, suggesting that they, the courtesans, are a line of painted seashells. She'll get a cold reception if she means that. But they are quite wrong. That voice is the high-ranking courtesan Hotarubi is played by Bando Tamasaburo. These beautifully painted shells, she explains, are for use in the shell matching game. On some are written the first part of a poem, on others the concluding part. Players compete to find both shells and thus complete the verses. Though they have entertained great lords and aristocrats as customers, she's never tried a game like that before. She's heard it's played by high-born princesses to while away their time. It seems most interesting. Perhaps they should all try their hand at this refined pastime this evening. A good idea. She'll start by reading the first part of a poem. Even in your dreams, I would not have you see me, for morn after morn. That's the first part. Here's the final couplet. I grow ever more ashamed to look at my haggard face. Such depressing subject matter. In that case, she'll start with the last part this time. At the mercy of the wind, leaves scatter in disarray. The offstage drum suggests a rising wind outdoors as Hotarubi asks about the unfamiliar gardener now watching them. What was that verse? Who is that servant who seems unfamiliar in this spring drizzle? She can't find any shell with that written on it. No, no, who is that servant outside? That servant? But now he's gone. Why, pretending to play at shell matching, does Hotarubi really want to be matched with a handsome servant? Most certainly not. This shell matching game is a little too refined for courtesans. They should stop playing it now. The master of the establishment appears to reprimand them. This is no time for squabbling. He's heard rumor of Lord Utsunomiya from the East's visit to Kyoto, and he will soon be here. It seems that he's presenting himself at court this morning, but before long he is sure to visit this place too. The reception rooms must be prepared. Quickly withdraw, and his Kyoto courtesans are to display all their skill at makeup. All that spiteful talk by the other courtesans. She mustn't take it to heart. She is happy the master is always so considerate of her feelings. She must hurry to prepare herself. Dear, dear, whether one rises or falls in this world is beyond our design. Now finely dressed, it is Ebina who comes this way. The path to the pleasure house is not one he frequents since giving up the world, yet his legs seem to remember the way. They're not to get ahead of him. He is supposed to walk like an old man now. My, but it's Ebina Naamida Butsu. This is a rare visit. Come right inside. Been such a time since they heard from him. Indeed, it's been a while since he stopped calling. But where is he off to now? Or has he taken the wrong path? He mustn't say that. On the contrary, since taking holy orders, he worships the Buddha and Kannon and is no longer free to roam this floating world. It's not because of his age, then. How like him to give so witty a reply. He merely comes today as a herald. Recently, some business took him to the east, where he met Lord Utsunomiya and was asked to arrange matters for him during his forthcoming trip to Kyoto. While here, the Lord wants to visit the Higashino Toin to meet the renowned Hotarubi. Ebina believes he is presenting himself at court this morning, but shortly afterwards he will be coming here. Ebina's old legs have brought him on ahead to report this to the master so he can make preparations. That is extremely good of him. But in that matter he has everything already in hand. Ebina need have no concerns. That is a relief. Then, after such a time, this evening once more, they'll light incense to a row of divinities and intone the Sutra of Immeasurable Bliss. Oh my, his lordship is here already. Then they, both together, will go to greet him. Every inch an impressive feudal lord, Sarugenji is led in by the erstwhile horse trader Rokudo Zaemon. Ahead lies the very place, my lord. My, but doesn't this city of Kyoto seem a bustling and prosperous place? His lordship has arrived. Bring out the best cricket sake cup. The courtesans must present themselves promptly, and refreshments provided for his lordship's retinue. Lord Utsunomiya has travelled from a great distance, and they thank him for his visit here. His lordship is welcome to partake of a drink from that sake cup of which the master admits they are proud. And if there is anyone whom he wishes to attend, the reputation of Hotarubi has spread even to the distant east. Which one is she? These courtesans are all so lovely to the eye, there seems a surfeit of Hotarubis here. Why, she is Hotarubi. No, it is she who is Hotarubi. Enough of these pranks. My lord, Hotarubi is not present now. What's that? Then Hotarubi is not here? but she will enter presently. My lord, the Hotarubi for whom he asked, is she? Will he be so good as to share a cup? And now, my lord. Really, it seems that lords from the East have eyes only for the flowers they love. Soon pledging their troth, why, how envious it makes them all. Now it is an established custom of this house that any new guest should perform some entertainment as requested by the courtesans. Luckily, their lord is a samurai from the east who must surely be skilled at combat. So then, everyone, let us request our lord to tell some heroic tale of battle. Well then, let the battle tale commence. What should follow in a traditional history play is the so-called monogotari, storytelling, where the character reenacts some dramatic incident to takemoto accompaniment. But here, our poor sardine seller turned feudal lord must improvise as best he can. He has no choice. Better not listen. What follows is a stroke of the playwright's genius. Racking his brains for some likely tale, Sarugenji will substitute the names of fish for those of warriors. So it was, close by Akashi Bay, dressed in a full suit of armor with scarlet cords, Sea Bream Akasuke called out in a mighty voice. The one to whom he called was Halibut Osuke of the long fins, who was taking flight in the distance. Return! Come back! He shouted. Fearing for his name and honor, among the billowing waves, Osuke turned his head and rowed back to shore. There he faced the power of the enemy's bows as they tried to shoot him through the fins. Swimming and grappling in the ocean waves, he fought off enemy arc shells and clams. In this direction and that, they escaped in confusion. In their wake, Akasuke and Osuke fought on in the sea, but were eventually cast up upon the shore. Covered all over in sand. Their combat continued. Then, seeing his chance, Osuke took his bow and shot one after the next until a turnip-shaped arrow finally hit its mark. Its shaft penetrated deep beneath the sea bream's fins. Akasuke fell, writhing in agony. Slithering to his aid came the octopus priest Nyudo. He rested Akasuke's head on one of his legs. If he had any last words in this world, he should speak them all to Octopus Nyudo now. Tearfully, Akasuke replied. He leaves his wife behind, but be that as it may, if only he could set eyes just once on the fish roe she now carries. With that, tragically, he passed away. An apt reminder of the cruelty of war. And there ends his sad tale. A story well told, and yet, though they've welcomed many guests from illustrious families, Sea Bream Akasuke, Halibut Osuke, and Octopus Nyudo are names she's never heard before. Now they have complied with their custom for entertainment, it's time they withdrew indoors for a drink. Yes, indeed, he will lead the way. Why, he's fallen fast asleep. Though ashamed to admit it, since working as a courtesan in this world of pain, all the men she has met have been demons. Today is the first time she's met so charming a lord, and yet, thinking that, now he treats her with indifference. She remains unknown to him as the Shirakawa River, whose night boats must navigate the rapids. How cruel he is. Talking in his sleep, we hear him say, "Sarugenji from Akogi Bay in the province of Ise. Come buy my sardines." She did not hear it distinctly, but he seemed to be calling someone else's name. Truly, what a hateful man he is. If he is going to talk in his sleep again, at least speak loud enough for her to hear. He's still fast asleep. Sarugenji from Akogi Bay in the province of Ise. Come buy my sardines. Why, that was the call of a common peddler, quite unbefitting a lord. The province of Ise. What was it he said? If only he would say it once more. A sardine seller's call. Then, could it be? Now she says that there does seem to be the smell of sardines in the air. A rather surprising perfume. I say, my sardine lord, open your eyes. I implore you, awake. It was paradise as he slept. Now paradise while awake. If only this were not a dream. He must wake up. He spoke so loudly in his sleep he could be heard across the city. What's that? He spoke in his sleep? And she would question him about what he said. He is really... a sardine seller, is he not? His name is famous through the eastern provinces. What does she mean by addressing Lord Utsunomiya no Danjo in that way? How dare she call him a sardine seller? Why, it's the first time since he was born he's heard such nonsense. In that case, by and by, she would like to ask, the Akogi Bay he mentioned, what does it mean? Oh yes, but of course. He has a great fondness for poetry and must have spoken of that poetic name in his sleep. The classical verse goes, if you continue pulling the fishing nets in Akogi Bay where salt is made from the sea, soon enough you'll be found out. That poem has been in his thoughts and must have come out in his sleep. Then, what is Sarugenji? That's from the poem. Those willow branches close to Sarusawa Pond are a memento of the sleep-dishevelled strands of my beloved's long hair. He was speaking senselessly in his sleep. But this is a strict interrogation. Then this is her last question. As he slept, he spoke the lines, "Come buy my sardines." Of what significance were they? That line, "Come buy my sardines." Yes, that line. Tell me, to what do they refer? They refer to the ancient story of the poetess Izumi Shikibu, who was once disturbed eating a plate of sardines by her husband Yasumasa. Embarrassed to be seen so, she hid the fish, and when questioned, replied with the poem, "In this land of Japan, I doubt there is anyone who has never been to that famed place of worship, the Iwashi Mizu shrine." Delighted with her witty riposte, incorporating the word for sardine, iwashi, in the shrine's name, Iwashi Mizu, Yasumasa did not blame her for eating the fish. Indeed, the fish was a kind of go-between, bringing the pair closer together. Much impressed with that story, he also talked of that in his sleep. With such talented poetry, he could never be a sardine seller. Indeed, he must be the real Lord Danjo. He is the genuine Utsunomiya Danjo. Then, not a sardine seller after all. Why is she crying? Thinking him a sardine seller, he has proved to be a genuine lord. For that reason, she cannot help but cry. But why? She has her own special reason. Apart from the master of this house, she has never told another soul of her circumstances. He would like to hear. He would like to hear. As it is he and no one else, she will explain. Thinking back, it was 10 long years ago. She was then the princess of Tankaku Castle in the province of Ki. One day she climbed a high castle tower to look out at the view. She gazed out in all directions. Then along the high road, she spotted a man. He seemed to be carrying a load upon one shoulder, and the sound of his beautiful voice carried on the wind. Come buy my sardines. Without thinking, her spirit flew from her. Through a side passage of the castle, she slipped out and hurried in the direction of the voice. As she went, the wind blew against her, and while she could still hear the voice, the man's form grew ever further away. She would have told him of her love, but then... Soon, trees screened her from view, and the loud cries of cicadas filled the air. No longer could she make out the path ahead. Looking up, dusk had descended. She had lost her way, and as she lay weeping, an honest-seeming tradesman called to her. She begged the traveller take pity, but then, to her surprise, he turned out to be a devilish slave trader. Dragging her away, he sold her straight to a brothel. How the days and months have sped past these 10 years. Now she has ended up a courtesan, but still, always in her thoughts, that voice. That sardine seller is her husband. Constantly she prays that blessed Kannon will lead her to him and make her the wife of that humble sardine seller. Believing that today the heavens had favored her, now she realizes that he is a genuine lord. She understands now that he is a real samurai. After so long a time in this worthless, floating world. My lord, farewell. Do not be rash, Hotarubi. Let her go. Let her die. But he is in truth a sardine seller. He is the fishmonger Sarugenji. No, he is trying to fool her again. Please, let her die. Ebina has heard everything. His son Sarugenji is indeed a sardine seller. Wanting so much to meet her, they thought to disguise him as a feudal lord. He has always been devoted to the art of poetry and is talented at writing verse himself. He has heard from the master all about her own circumstances. And he, the supposed chief retainer, is really a horse trader. That chestnut horse was one he couldn't sell. Using this disguise, he's instantly turned into a samurai. He carries his produce on one shoulder like so, and calls out to customers. So he is not Lord Danjo. How grateful she is to blessed Kannon. Then from today, she will be his wife. Is this a dream? She's overjoyed. But her courtesan's contract. How will they raise 200 in gold? What can they do? What can they do? He must say first how delighted he is to find the princess in such excellent health. He has found these fake scoundrels lurking in the shadows, tied them up and dragged them here. He begs that now they start back for Tankaku Castle without delay. Why, he is the gardener she saw earlier. Indeed, he is her family's retainer, Yabukuma Jirota. He was sent by the princess's mother and father to search for her, and disguised himself as a lowly gardener to spy out these premises. That was him, Jirota. As proof of his words, he has this inscribed box that should fit the small statue of Kannon that the princess owns. She has that Kannon statue with her now. A perfect match. Then be so good as to return it. As Jirota came to take her back to the castle, he must have the money to redeem her contract. He has 250 gold pieces on him now. Then he's to give 200 to the master at once. Congratulations. The remaining 50 pieces he is to give to the horse trader. Will he disobey his mistress? Now his horse is sold at last. Will there be no limit to this? And he is to untie the other attendants too. She said to untie them. Untie them at once. Now they can be on their way.
ってください。
待ちましょう。
ねじるわた。
She trusts her father and mother are in good health, in perfect health. When he meets them, he's to speak favorably of her and say that from this day forth, she is a sardine seller's wife. It is a commandment for a dutiful wife that, once she leaves her parents' front gate, she is never to return. In future, when she visits Ki province to sell sardines with her husband, when they are close to Tankaku Castle, she'll be sure to call out, "Buy my sardines." At such time, her father and mother should climb the tower to show her their faces. She asks that he convey this. And now, dearest, out of the way, out of the way. But this will be a catastrophe. Princess, stop. Please wait. My lady. On your knees. Your knees, I say. From today they are husband and wife sardine sellers, and she begs to be taught how to call. Then listen. Now she's to try it. Place the sword over one shoulder. That's perfect. Now they can all have a go. How beautifully they called it. Now he must atone for his failure. No wonder it couldn't cut. Why, it's rusty as a red sardine. From now every evening in Akogi Bay, they'll play husband and wife's shell-matching game. To go with their marriage toast, they'll have sardines with their heads on. Leaving the pleasure houses is their fortune. And today we have seen the secret art of buying and selling produce. Before they go on, they must give thanks to the blessed deity Kannon. As always, you're beautiful. Let's go. This translation for Iwashi Uri Koi no Hikiami was written and narrated by Paul Griffith.